Mass Effect 3 definitely had its problems with the story. Now, at first I wanted to talk about the endings, but there were way too many people talking about that. So I've decided to look at the other overlooked flaws when compared to the ending. And in this part 1 of the series, we're going to talk about the portrayal of Cerberus. While they were definitely fun enemies to fight against, I can't wrap my head around how contrived and out of place they seem to be in the game when you look at the big picture. First off, the main problems with Cerberus is that they A. overshadow the Reapers in most parts of the story, B. what they do in the game is completely far-fetched if you played any of the previous games or read any of the books.
Holy shit, they're executing them.
Shepard, take cover.
Someone vented the air from this room while they were still here. Looks like they died trying to claw their way out. This is brutal, even by Cerberus standards.
They were gunned down while having drinks and watching the game.
Son of a bitch, this was somebody's home.
Not only did BioWare try too hard to make them evil, but they just made them way over the top. It's that Cerberus' evil stigma, along with their over-the-top nature, that makes Cerberus overshadow the Reapers. They're in most of the side missions. They sneak into the Salarian homeworld while the Normandy is in orbit over the planet and catch the Salarians of all people off guard. They sneak into Tuchanka as an attempt to detonate a bomb that actually wipes out a good portion of the planet if they succeed. You lose hundreds of asset points, and Eve dies as a result if you fail to complete that side mission. Speaking of Tuchanka, are the Reapers afraid of the Krogan? All those capital ships, and they drop one Reaper destroyer on the planet to poison the sky. Even though the Krogan have no cruisers, no fighters, no frigates, no dreadnoughts, they're demilitarized for crying out loud, and the Reapers could have taken a lot better advantage of that than just dropping one Reaper on the planet to get owned by a Thresher Maw. I walk around on the Citadel, and there are more people talking about Cerberus than the Reapers. Heck, Cerberus even attacks the Citadel before the Reapers. Take all this in, and I believe it's safe to say that Cerberus is displayed as not only more competent, but in other cases, scarier than the Reapers. You can try to make the argument that both the Reapers and Cerberus were of equal threat when it comes to the galactic threat, but Cerberus shouldn't even be on the same level with the Reapers. The previous games have been building up to the Reapers, not Cerberus. But in the story mode, other than Earth, we only land in two other Reaper hot zones, Palin's Moon and Thessia. It would have been nice to land in more hot zones instead of getting sidetracked by Cerberus in key parts of the story. While the Odina coup was one of my favorite missions, it ultimately suffers from the lack of explanation and logic. In this mission, Cerberus attacks the Citadel. They managed to steamroll CSEC headquarters, which I should remind you consists of thousands of CSEC officers, primarily Turians, and they just bull rush the Presidium and shoot everything up where the Council is currently located, one of the most secured places in the galaxy, and Cerberus just drops in. Then there is Odina. Yes, he grounded the Normandy in the first game, get over it. However, Udina is no idiot. After meeting with the council at the beginning of Mass Effect 3, you talk to Udina and he displays that he's just as concerned about Earth as Shepard, if not more. He wants to retake Earth too. He tells you how he's going to handle the economics part of the war. He has contact with Admiral Hackett. He's going to arm civilian ships. He even tells you that he's the most powerful human in history. This could have been a chance for character development and show us the more political parts of the game, since he's hearing constant news from Earth and other colonies. But instead he trusts Cerberus, and Udina knows what Cerberus is about. It makes no sense whatsoever for him to team up with Cerberus and flip-flop and betray the council like he did. And the worst part is, the best explanation we get for the reason behind this coup is speculation on him possibly being indoctrinated or wanting to seize control of the fleets for himself, like the other races was just gonna follow him. Yep, what a waste of a character.
I know I can move mountains. Do not lose sight of that.
Here's another guy I think they missed the mark on, Leng. He's a guy who was introduced in Retribution, and he made his second appearance in Deception. He was in both books. He was a tad bit over the top in these books, but still better portrayed there than in the game. I think BioWare's intention was to put the players against a foil we would love to hate, but there were some missteps. The guy has no kind of depth other than childish taunts. During the first boss fight, he needs a gunship to help beat you. In a cutscene, when will developers learn that losing in a cutscene pisses off gamers? During the second boss fight, he's more concerned with destroying the floor than fighting Shepard. My point is, Leng could have been a lot scarier. This is a guy who was extremely racist against aliens. He killed Arya's daughter, killed a Krogan with a knife, killed a squad of Tyrians at point blank range with a knife. He was in 7 like Shepard, so the whole anti-Shepard could have been there a lot more, but it wasn't. He was shot in both legs and still managed to crawl his way back to safety. He broke into David Anderson's home and ate his cereal. And don't get me started on those emails. Cerberus only had a couple of hundred operatives prior to Mass Effect 3, so in 6 months they managed to grow this army into some kind of galactic empire. And this is explained by the fact that they captured civilians, indoctrinated them, brainwashed them, whatever, and implanted them with the Reaper steroids. And all of a sudden they're expert snipers, ninjas, pilots, tacticians. If you're familiar with any of the books or comics involving the Illusive Man, you'd know he was experimenting with this stuff before. However, not everybody reads the books or comics. Couldn't we have gotten more insight as to what kind of tech was going into these people's bodies? How about better foreshadowing in the previous games pertaining to Cerberus resources? And where did they get fighters from? It took the entire 5th Fleet of the Alliance to take down the Illusive Man's base. The Illusive Man and his methods of achieving his goals don't make any sense. On Mars, he tells you he wants to control and harness the Reaper's power. But why are they gunning down civilians on random human colonies? Why are they at Grissom Academy worried about turning a handful of students into phantoms and centurions? What does Cerberus gain by putting themselves on notice early and attacking the Citadel like that? Why are they attacking alien homeworlds? What the Illusive Man wants to accomplish and the steps he takes to get there just doesn't flow together properly. And when it comes to morality, honestly, there was some ambiguity there. People who hated Cerberus could bring up legitimate points. People who liked Cerberus could bring up legitimate points. It was all up for interpretation because there was some shades of gray there. But instead of acting like the leader who wanted to stop the Reapers at all costs while advancing humanity, he screws himself up. He indoctrinates himself and warns the Reapers about Shepard's plan. This is completely out of character considering the Illusive Man knows what would happen. As I said earlier, he experimented with Reaper tech before, but he still does this. Anyway, while the whole Cerberus being the bad guys is a good concept, in my opinion, and could have been executed properly, it's not executed properly, and there are retcons, inconsistencies, and plot holes because some of the stuff in here isn't explained properly, and there's a lack of foreshadowing, and as a result it has made me, and I'm sure other people, believe that the lack of planning and railroading caused this to happen.